So hello, Dark Moon Dollies. It's me, Dark Moon Doll. Hello, how are you doing? Out here on a beautiful sunny day in sunny California. Hope you guys are having a great day. I just wanted to make a quick video talking about masking and autism. Now, a lot of people will tell me that you don't look like you're autistic, but that's because I'm masking a lot of times. The traits of level one autism are hard hitting when you're by yourself. As a lot of you know who are level one autistic beings on this planet. Um, I can't speak on the other levels because two and three because I am not experiencing that. And so, if you care to find out more about levels two and three, please ask me because I'll do my research and come forth with a video just about level two and three also. So, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about the whole masking thing. I've been masking ever since I was a kid. I got a comment not too long ago of someone saying, "Oh, you're still doing going on about this autism thing," you know, and talking about how he's got a relative that's getting prepared for an assessment. And so, in other words, he's saying, "Fuck you, you're not autistic. You're just jumping on some sort of bandwagon," which I haven't been. I've been exploring and researching um, autism and what it is all the way back to 2012 when I thought my son had autism. And I still think he does have autism as well as schizoaffective disorder. Autism is a neural oh god, I can't stop. I was gonna say neurodiabolical. It's not a neurodiabolical disorder. It's a neurological disorder, which has to do with the brain, which has to do with doesn't have anything to do with vaccines and all this shit that has been spread around. It has everything to do with hereditary and genes. I suspected my dad had autism, but I can't prove it because he's passed away. If I really wanted to go that far, I could. But I mean, at this point, not right now. I don't. But I do believe that he was autistic as well. The type of autism I have, which is level one, he had a very extreme interest in one thing, and he would just hammer at it, and that's another word for monotropism. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've been learning a lot of these terms from this channel called I'm Autistic Now What, and the woman who created the video, the channel is her name's Meg, and I like her channel a lot because she goes and describes all kinds of things that people with our type of autistic, experience may go through. I mean, similar traits. I mask a lot because it's safer that way. If I were to present myself with all the stimming and stuff that I do in public, I'd probably be arrested. I mean, there's times where I just want to start dancing. I got my music on, I just want to start dancing and snapping my fingers and clapping. I've done that before, and to my dismay, it wasn't welcomed with open arms because people are living in the footloose days forever. Ever since that movie came out, it was like a warning of what's to come. Everybody's become shut down and afraid to express themselves with their body and with their vocals. You know what I'm saying? I love to sing, and that's why I loved being in a band that I was in for a bit, and it helped me with the stemming. It helped me to express myself the way I wanted to express myself. Because when in the band, I wasn't just singing; I was also playing the triangle. I was playing this office bell. What else? The triangle, the office bell. I think that was it. But that was just kind of something that I could do when I wasn't singing. it was a stimming thing that I could do while I wasn't singing. And then I would play the office bell, as well as the triangle, and dance along with it. And I would get lost in it, lost in the music, and I felt like that's a good thing when you're performing on stage. You show the people that you really like the music that you created, instead of you just going through the motions. You're feeling it. So yeah, that is something I really miss doing, is singing a lot, like performing live for people to hear the songs that I've created. So when I say masking, what does that look like for me? Masking for me looks like me trying to control every single word that comes out of my mouth, which I can't do. Avoid, messing with my hair, because I do mess with my hair a lot. That there's a neurotypical people, and neurotypical pretty much means you don't have any of the conditions like ADHD, autism, even schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, OCD. All of these and some other and many more are considered uh, neurodivergent conditions, neurodivergent, and not neurotypical. So there's things that I do that not everybody sees, that I don't, that I not ready to express to the world, and there's certain things that I will express to the world that I do. I do walk on my tiptoes a lot, and that is a trait of autism spectrum disorder. I've been doing that ever since I was a kid, walking on my tiptoes. And it wasn't just to sneak around so that nobody would wake up. It got to where I was doing it all the time. And I had to control myself when I was in school, going to kindergarten, so that I wouldn't be, mocked and made fun of. There's a lot of things I do too. There's another trait that I do, as far as my autism goes. There's little catchphrases that I've heard from movies, TV shows, and I'll repeat them. And I think I talked about the thing about Batman. My son got tired of me saying that. They could say, or holy macaroni, Batman, if I'm making macaroni and cheese, or holy hysterectomy, Batman. And then it would be like the reply, and I would say Robin's line, and then I would also say Batman's line. Like Robin, it's impossible for you to have a hysterectomy because you are male and not female. My son used to like it when I would do that for a while, but then he got tired of it. He's like, okay, when are you going to stop doing this? Another trait of people with autism spectrum, on the spectrum of number one. um, I will watch the same TV show, all the seasons, over and over. The TV show Wentworth, I've watched that TV show, all the seasons, over and over at least 20 times or more. And why is it that I watched it so many times? Because I dissected and take it apart. First, I watched the whole movie. I mean, the whole TV show feels like a movie, the whole season. And then I have to go back and all the others, watch all the seasons again in order to see what I missed. Because I'll be like, at the end of at least the first time I watched all the seasons, at the end of the last season, I'm like, well, why did that happen? So I had to watch it all over again. And each time I watch it, I see something that I didn't see before, you know? And I've done that with a lot of things. I did that with the TV show Charmed. I even had all of the seasons on DVD of Charmed. I did that with the Ghost Whisperer. I had all the DVDs for Ghost Whisperer, all the seasons also on DVD. I've done that with so many shows. What other show have I done that with? I did that with that Ted show with the teddy bear, the pot smoking teddy bear. I watched that many times because there's things in there I didn't realize before were in it. By the way, they have a TED too. So I have no access to that show now because I don't have the network called Peacock, where you can watch it on there. It costs money. I think it's like $20 a month to watch that, to have that network, and I'm not interested in spending any more money. So right now, I just have Tubi TV and Pluto. Um, Someone told me about a neighbor told me about this thing called Flickster. I looked it up, and it's no longer going on. So unfortunately, I won't be not doing that. I get something on my teeth. All right, I'm good. So yeah, one of the main things is that I would watch the same TV show over and over. Another thing that I used to do when I was married in a relationship with my ex husband, every night I would play the same Brian Eno CD to go to sleep to, and it was like a spacey. I can't think of the name of it. It's like right at the tip of my tongue. The name of the album. If you guys know Brian Eno, then and if you know him a lot, you probably are familiar with the album I'm talking about. It was pretty spacey. It sounded like a spacecraft landing onto Earth. It was just so relaxing for me. So I mean, not watched. I listened to that CD for over 10 years at night. Every night I'd have it on. I'd put it on the speaker and have it on, and I'd be asleep in an instant. So that's another thing. Not too many people do that. The most people that do that would be considered autistic. Another thing that I do a lot of is this. I don't like to make eye contact. I don't. I really don't. So a lot of times I like to put sunglasses on. Lately, that's what I've been doing. So that way the person doesn't get offended that I'm not looking directly at them. Several times I've talked to somebody recently, or someone was talking to me, and I'm just chilling, and they'd like try to look at me. Can you hear me? Are you listening to me? It's like yes, I'm listening to. You. Even if I'm like doing art, even if I'm drawing or sewing, and someone's talking to me, they assume that I'm not listening to them. But it's not that I'm not listening to them. It's just that's how I operate. That's how I'm built. So I mean, but yeah, there's several other things that I like to do to help self-regulate myself if I'm getting stressed out and nervous and feeling in a moment of high anxiety. Then I'll close off and just become the observer, and then people will get confused, be like, why was it that she was very vocal and engaging in conversations and now she's not? Because I have a battery. And when my battery is dead, you can't talk to me, I'm done. I got in, I was listening, I was in a conversation with somebody, and the conversation was interesting, albeit a little bit exhausting because it was going on and on and on and on. And I was tired. After that whole conversation, I went back home and had something to eat and took a nap because it was that exhausting. It caused this, I don't know how to say it. But yeah, it was that exhausting that I couldn't even continue with my day. So yeah, I was just so exhausted and I couldn't think when I wanted it when I came back inside. I had planned on working on some art, but I couldn't because I was exhausted. I was thinking about all the things this person was saying, and yeah. Another thing that people do who are autistic is they're big time people pleasers. That's why we mask. Is because we don't want any trouble. We don't want any confrontations. Big on big on non-confrontational situations. I love not being in confrontation, not being in drama-filled situation, and that's how it is now where I'm living in an apartment complex. There's a lot of dramatic things that go on, and I'm just kind of in the mix of it all, just sitting there watching it. And a lot of times I feel like I'm being someone's wanting to force me to make a decision of who I like and who I don't like, and I really don't want to get into that, you know. I really don't. I mean, it's not important. I don't like to do gossiping stuff. But yeah, I mean, another thing I can think of is a lot of times, like back to the people pleasing thing. I'm gonna just tell you this one thing. One night I was outside, just taking a break, getting some fresh air, looking at the stars, seeing if the moon was out, and this guy came up, and I've seen him before. I mean, he's tried to flirt with me before. It's almost like he forgot who I was, and so he came over, and he lives at the apartment complex, and he's like, he sat down and was just trying to ask me a bunch of questions about if I was dating anybody, and I told him yes, I have a boyfriend. And then he's kind of like, well, if you have a boyfriend, why is he here right now and doing all this? I'm like, it's like, is this really any of your business? And who the hell are you? I mean, somebody described one of the neighbors described him as looking like Sammy Davis Jr. And that's right on. I mean, he was trying to have that same persona, you know, and he just was like, well, let me go grab a joint and I'll smoke with you. And I'm like, are you still, he's all, are you going to still be here? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I just came out here to take a break by myself. You know, I didn't expect to be hit up on by Sammy Davis Jr., you know, and so that was very uncomfortable because the guy just kept trying to flirt with me, even though I told him I was involved with somebody else, and he's trying to make himself look enticing by putting down who it is I'm dating. Like, what kind of boyfriend is that? It's da 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 da. And I'm just kind of like, I'm sitting there because I'm non-confrontational, and I'm not gonna say, you know, get the fuck away from me, asshole. Which most people would say that would be a good response. But I don't like confrontation because I feel like I look so far ahead in the situation. Okay, if I were to say that to him, the next day it's going to be all around the apartment complex that I said this and that and that, and it's a big like drama filled day, and I don't like that. So that's why a lot of times I'd like to keep to myself, but that doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't work all the time for me, and that happens with a lot of people who are autistic. They attract a lot of people. They can be in different crowds with different types of people, and and the people that don't get along with each other, you can, yeah, I can still get along with just about anybody. This is, I mean, a lot of times I try to keep things surface, but if I could tell somebody is a deep thinker, then I feel elated. I feel so much joy. Another thing that I want to say to autistic people also, um, we're not into small talk. I mean, I may say, hey, the weather is nice today and on the video and all that. And that's because it's real. I really do feel like the weather is nice today. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the heat, the warmth of my skin. That sensation is very nice. Not having to bundle up and have a gazillion layers on, which is another sensory disturbance for those who have level 1 autism. I also have ADHD too. So, but yeah, there's a lot of sensory exertion that goes on with living on this planet as someone who has autism. It is because people are expecting things from you when they look at you because they don't know exactly what's going on in your mind or what kind of struggles you've had to go through. Um, a lot of times, people with level 1 autism are seen as having a perfect life. When I was in high school, people assumed I had a perfect life. They thought that I was living in a wealthy neighborhood and all. When they found out that I was living in an apartment complex, living with my sister, they're like, "That doesn't seem like right for you." A lot of people with level 1 autism can seem very scholastic, very intellectual, very intelligent. Not, I mean, they can seem they a lot, we are, but I mean, people assume things about people who have this level of autism. Like we're gonna be like Rain Man. We're gonna be like. I mean, Rain Man has a whole different type of autism, which is something I could deal with in another video. But it's totally different, and a lot of times when people don't have the patience to learn about a condition, they make assumptions based on stuff that they've seen on television or TV. And most people don't realize, like, if you, for example, have you seen the movie Benny and June? Okay, his answer is yes. Johnny Depp's uh, character is played by someone who has autism spectrum disorder. And in real life, Johnny Depp came out and said that he's autistic. So I think that's really cool that he did that, because not too many actors and actresses would want to reveal that about themselves. They want to remain an enigma and just be there in the screen. You know, that's a lot of things. Another thing I can't stand is loud noises, music, ambulances. I mean, loud music that I really don't want to hear. I can listen to loud music of stuff that I like to hear. The loud music just coming around in someone's car where it feels like the bass is going to split the concrete that you're walking on. Yeah, I don't like that. I did have earbuds. My earbuds broke, and I've got to invest in a good pair of headphones. I've been scoping some out. But this is just a few of the things, I mean, that people won't see. People don't see what's in your head, what you're thinking, too, um, as far as being someone who's autistic, level one autistic. And it's too bad because a lot of people who have level one autism, people just assume that we don't need any support, we don't need any help at all. We're also considered low needs. Before the level one, two, three, then there's the just low needs and high needs. I'm considered low needs because I can live by myself, bathe, you know, make my own meals and all that kind of stuff. But I still have a lot of needs. And a lot of people level one autism end up just not asking for help, just doing it on their own. Because for a lot of people, we don't want to. For a lot of people with autism, level one autism, we don't want to seem um, not capable of taking care of ourselves, not being able to be independent. Because a lot of us on this level of autism, we've experienced a lot of, how would I say it? We've experienced a lot of rejection when we decide to just let go and just be ourselves. We've experienced a heck of a lot of rejection, so the mask goes back on. The mask comes off when we feel like we're comfortable. We're in a situation or with a person that we can totally be ourselves with. There's mannerisms that I have that that can be seen as being annoying. Uh, I'm not going to try to change who I am anymore in order to make somebody comfortable, because that's a lot of what the masking is about, is making people who are neurotypical comfortable when nobody's going out of their way to make you feel comfortable. Someone with autism, level one autism, they're not going out of their way to make you feel comfortable. Well, they expect you to make them feel comfortable. And then once you drop the mask, then that's when they say, "Oh, you're fake. You're fake. You're an imposter," because you presented a certain persona to whoever it is, your friends, family, whatever, your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. You presented this persona to this person, because you're afraid that you wouldn't be liked any other way. And that in itself is crippling and very disabling and making you feel totally worn out, totally to the point where you don't want to be around anyone. You don't want to be around anyone. You don't want to talk to anyone. You just want to listen. Because a lot of times when I'm in a conversation with more than one person, it gets out of control crazy. Because I can't keep up with all that. It's almost like people are vying for attention to get their word out. That's what I experience in conversations with people. And that's why a lot of times I prefer to be by myself. I don't hate people. I'd rather be by myself or with around animals. Yesterday I was outside and the squirrel, I was talking to a really kind neighbor, and the squirrel came up, and it's the one squirrel that I always feed. I feed their family and stuff when I have some food. And I told that squirrel a few days ago that I will be bringing you something to eat soon. I'm sorry. And they earnestly, he took me seriously. He was like, oh, okay. So yesterday I was sitting there talking to a really kind neighbor, and the squirrel settled up next to me because he saw I brought out a container of walnuts, fresh too. I will only give these animals fresh things. I won't give them junk food or stale food, expired food, and all of that. Because some people are like, oh, whatever, they'll still eat it, they'll eat anything. That's the point. They shouldn't be just eating everything. They should be eating good food just like we are. So, yeah, the squirrel came next to me, and then I was just giving him the nuts, and he's just chilling, eating with me. And my neighbor was surprised. She's like, "Wow, he's just sitting there next to you, hanging out and eating the nuts." I'm like, "Yeah, um, that happens with me a lot with animals, especially when I'm by myself too." Because the squirrel didn't want to completely come over there because more people were coming around, so the squirrel wanted to skidoo on out. So, but if I was there by myself, I'd have squirrels, magpies, um, mockingbirds, doves, all kinds of animals around me, and that tends to be normal for those who have autism or autism level one. I'm not saying all, but a lot are very compassionate towards animals, and the animals can tell. The animals can feel it. 'Cause I told that my neighbor when that squirrel was eating the nuts next to me. I was eating some too. I told her that the animals become more friendly with you and trusting of you if you feed them, if you show them. That's your one means of communication to get closer to these animals. Show them you care. One way you show them you care is by feeding them. And ever since I was a kid, I just liked being around animals and not people at all. If I wasn't around animals, then I just wanted to be by myself. And then I was seen as being strange. I was seen as being shy, and I was called shy. My mom called me shy, and I really didn't like that word. I mean, I got over that. I felt like that wasn't the way to describe how it was acting. I felt like it was more accurate to say that I was observant because I only felt comfortable engaging with someone and smiling at them and laughing if I felt comfortable around them and know them. So, I mean, yeah. But yeah, that's just a few things I wanted to share about it. And just let me know what you guys think about it. Because I know there's a few people, maybe more than a few people, who watch this channel who considers themselves to have level one autism. And the hardest thing about that is people not knowing what that means. And then when they don't know what that means, they just see you as an imposter, as a fake person. And when all of my life I've been trying to assimilate, like I'm part of the Borg or something, and trying to be like everybody else so I don't stand out. You do that for so many years, it can take its toll on your health, mental, physical, and spiritual health. So those of you that are watching this, you have level 1 autism, and you're masking a lot. I'm not going to tell you not to mask because I still do. I'm doing it less and less. So, because you've been doing this for this long, as many years as I've been doing this masking thing. It definitely takes its toll on your health. I already said that. For me, it's definitely taking its toll on my health. Yep. So yeah, I'll be coming here on this channel, and every now and then talking to you about my type of autism, because a lot of people like me, black female, when I was in school as a little girl, I was just passed through the system. Nobody asked or wondered why. At one point, I don't know what grade it was. I think it was sixth grade. I was in the wrong. I was in the wrong class for the whole year. I sat in the back and I drew a picture of the teacher. The teacher would call roll call all the time, and they wouldn't even say my name. And I was sitting in the back. And then once that year is over, I went up to the teacher and gave her the picture that I was drawing. It looked dead on like her. It was a drawing. And so, oh, this is nice. She didn't even acknowledge the fact that I didn't even belong in her class. That I wasn't even on the roll call and shit. So, I mean, that's just an example of how people with autism spectrum disorder can get left behind. Because people assume that there's only one type of autism, the type that's really visible, um, the type where, oh God, look at this person having a tantrum, meltdown. Um, People with level 1 autism also have meltdowns, shutdowns, and burnouts, yet we hide it a lot of the times. A lot of people, and I'm not going to say it's everybody who has autism or spectrum disorder, has a feeling of shame or being embarrassed when they fully express themselves and totally be who they are. They are. I mean, especially if you totally express yourself and be who you are, and then you get a fucked up response. Like people start laughing at you, making fun of you, and it's no joke. I mean, I was always very self conscious as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult. Um, but it comes a point in your life where you have to be true to yourself, no matter what. And if the people that are around you don't accept you for who you are, how you were born, then it's time to reassess those relationships and decide whether or not they're worth continuing. Even if it's your biological family, even if it's your biological family. And that's what I had to do. I had to get away from them because they wanted me so much to be like them, but I wasn't like them. I was totally black sheep. I'm the pink sheep of the family. I was never wanting to conform to things that made no sense. And that's another trait of those who have autism spectrum disorder. Not wanting to conform, wanting to be free, wanting to be able to express myself the way that I want to express myself. And a lot of the ways that I was able to handle wearing a mask all day was to come back home, excuse me, and be myself and do the things that really make me feel so much joy in my heart, specifically my art and then my writing. And then I really got into reading. And those activities helped me to get through. this whole constant masking thing. Every time I walked out the door, I felt like I was on stage. Seriously, I feel like that sometimes too to this day when I walk outside of my apartment because there's a lot of different people with different dynamic personalities, and I've seen every personality there is out there. So when I walk out and step out the door, all of a sudden, hey, what's up? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that being friendly and greeting, but for me, it can be overwhelming a lot of times, and a lot of that I hide. I hide the fact that I'm feeling overwhelmed. So, but yeah, this is just a little tidbit of the masking that I do. I mean, even right now, if you look at right what I'm doing, that's a form of stemming by doing that. I mean, like I said, neurotypical people do stem. Everybody stems, but not to the degree that somebody with autism spectrum disorder stems. A lot of the stems can be for different reasons. It can be when you're happy, you're sad, excited, stressed, angry. Um, Sometimes these stemming can get very dangerous and or not good for your body. Things that you could do, and I've been through that. I still go through that. Some of the things that I do that aren't healthy for me to do. I'm not going to go through talking about that right now, but some people have the. I was watching Meg from I'm Autistic Now What, and she talked about how she like does this with her neck all the time, and yeah, there's something that I do all the time too. That it's embarrassing, but I do it, and I'm breaking myself out of it, and it's kind of gross too. But it's like you know how your nose, if you were to squeeze your nose, there's this white stuff that comes out. The white stuff is excess oil. It's sebum. It's called sebum, and it gets concentrated in this area, the nose area. All the oils and stuff gathered. A lot of times I'll squeeze my nose to the point where there's too much. I mean, where it's too much that I've done, and my nose feels red and irritated and hurts. Lately, what I've been doing when I get the urge to do that instead is I'll rinse my face off with some cool water and then apply this really nice hemp lotion that I bought not too long ago onto my skin. So that's one way of combating my compulsion to want to do that. And usually, when I do squeeze my nose like that, it's because I'm having a stressed out day, I'm sad, I'm angry, or whatever. I'm learning not to take it out on my face by doing something a lot more helpful, you know. So, um, but yeah, I just thought I'd do a little bit longer of a video about it. It feels good to get it out because some may think, well, who cares? You're at this age. What does it matter if you know about this? What does it matter if you get a diagnosis? What does it matter? It matters a lot because it explains a lot of why I was treated the way that I was as a young person and all the way up to now. It gives you a good explanation. So if you are wanting to get an assessment in the hopes of getting a diagnosis for autism spectrum disorder, I say go for it. I've gotten really exhausted with trying to find a neuropsychologist that will assess me. I recently got a new therapist, and my therapist is awesome. They brought out the DSM book, and they told me, I'm saying they because that's the pronoun that my therapist likes to go by. So they told me that uh, let me just read through here and ask you some questions. We'll get right down to it. She asked me several. They asked me several questions, and then okay, you do have autism. I can't formally um, diagnose you as such because I'm not a neuropsychologist. But what I can do is acknowledge the fact that I know that you do have autism spectrum disorder, and I want to talk about how that affects you, through your life. You know what I mean? Because who has autism spectrum disorder and someone who does not have two different lives altogether. They could be placed in the same neighborhood, same family, same friends, but same. That's where all the same ends. That's where all the sameness ends. Yeah, and a lot of times when they don't want to believe you, is that people don't want to believe you when you tell them. It's because they've seen you that way, a certain way, for all of their time that they've known you. So for you to, what they would think of is flip the script and say, "Oh no, that's not me. I've been masking all this time." Doesn't mean you were lying all this time. You just weren't expressing and showing all of who you really are. So if you do have autism spectrum disorder, don't be afraid to slowly be who you want to be, who you are, because it's very detrimental to our health to hide everything all the time of who we are. So I guess that's the best I can say as far as that goes when it pertains to me when talking about autism spectrum disorder. If you want to find out more information, there's a ton of information all over online. Um, yeah, it's all over the place. There's even tests online you could take. You could talk to your therapist. You could talk to see the primary doctor is the person I had to talk to in order to get the info on to get a diagnosis or get an assessment and get diagnosed. It's not easy because the kind of insurance I have, they're not really interested in helping me to get a diagnosis, so or assessment to get a diagnosis. So at this point, I'm happy with my therapist acknowledging me as having what I do have, and knowing that I'm legit when I tell her, all the things I've experienced through that lens, the eye lens of someone who has autism spectrum disorder. So thanks for joining me today for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section below, or if you have something to say about your experience with autism spectrum disorder, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. If you want to donate to this channel, oh god, my nose, you go to my Cash App. My hashtag is lightmoondoll. In exchange for your donation, I can create a one-of-a-kind piece of artwork for you. I don't think this bag is something I made myself. Or I can create a video based on a topic of your choosing. But that's it. Brightest blessings to y'all. I'll see you soon. And don't be afraid to be who you are. And if you're around people who don't encourage you to be who you are, then you gotta make your cutoff game strong. Okay, you gotta cut them out because they're only going to contribute to your demise.